everyone. Shauna Brindley. Welcome to another interview of our wonderful podcast, hoping to really bring some light on the subject of addiction and really the success coming out of addiction. Today we have a wonderful guest with us, Michael Ormsby, from actually here in Springfield with us. We're super excited to have him. He agreed, and today is actually his birthday, so he is interviewing on his birthday. So if anybody comments on this video later, wish him a belated birthday, as this will be posted a little later. If you're watching on YouTube, we ask that you please subscribe. We are just really interested in getting people notified when we do a new interview. We have them coming out every week, and we have quite a kind of a lineup coming up. So we're really, really pumped about it. I hope everyone is having a wonderful week so far. Hope your weekend's going to be wonderful. And so let's get started. Michael, tell us a little bit about where this all started for you.
Well, my name is Michael, and I used to have a drinking problem.
Mm-hmm.
Do I look at you? Or?
Either way.
Okay. I used to have a drinking problem. Not necessarily come home and drink every night problem, but I would go out with my friends and drink until I was the last person standing.
Ah.
And it was bad enough to where bar owners would probably label me as the tornado.
Oh.
So I would just drink until I just was blacked out and just had no idea what was going on.
Yeah. How often?
I mean, 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah.
I was putting down probably 20, 30 beers, shots, just partying it up like I was 19 years old.
Yeah. When did that start for you?
Well, it probably started midway through high school, actually.
Yeah.
I probably squashed a promising baseball career due to starting my alcohol addiction. When I was 16, I started going to parties, and when you go to parties, everything is right there in front of you.
Yeah.
You always want to be the person that fits in with everybody.
Especially in high school.
Sure, especially in high school, there's a lot of pressure. That's where it probably starts for everybody.
Yeah.
And start drinking, you start getting out of shape, a little slower and a little less focused, and before you know it, your senior year is here and you decide not to even play baseball anymore because you're not playing your best. Yeah. You didn't evolve with all the other athletes that went on to play in college.
Yeah. Wow, that's a tough one. How many years did this go on for?
So this went on until 2.5 years ago.
Oh, so
I actually quit April 2 years ago. I think it was April around the 24th.
Okay.
Not sure if I'm supposed to label the event.
Go ahead.
But I was at Rockin' Ribs and, had one of those nights where I probably drank 20 or 30 beers. Woke up the next day and looked in the mirror and just said to myself, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
And once I made up my mind to stop, I just quit.
Wow.
I just moved right on and I don't think about it. I had enough. I didn't like the hangovers. I didn't like how the hangovers felt. They lingered on for 2 or 3 days. I was depressed. I couldn't make smart decisions. And being in business, self-employed, if you're not on your best game, you're going to lose. You're going to lose your business. You're going to lose your life. You'll lose your relationships. You'll lose your kids. You'll lose everything.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what really poked me to stop that day.
Yeah.
But I just did.
So how did your family react during your kind of really rough times and then this random decision that came out of nowhere?
Well, with my marriage, it was always horrible to come home drunk because it was an instant argument every time.
Yes.
With my kids, they saw how silly I acted when me and the guys are drinking, having beers, watching football. They saw how silly I acted, and they definitely did not like it. I got to the point where Callie, my daughter, had asked me to quit.
Mm.
And I guess at that point, it wasn't, I was just kind of like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But as time went on, maybe it was part of that, something that tugged at me to stop. And
yeah.
Maybe why I made the decision that day, April 25th, to quit.
Yeah. So now you're on the other side, and I assume your family is seeing a different person. They're seeing...
When I was drinking, I probably weighed 230 pounds. I was eating junk food all the time. I was out of shape, didn't feel good. I could easily get sick, 2 or 3 times a year. So since I've quit, I've gotten into CrossFit. I'm active. I've gotten back into playing sand volleyball, which I love to do.
Cool.
I like to go to Florida anytime that I can and play in tournaments. I like to play in local tournaments. And I've dropped the weight from 230 to 175.
Wow.
And I feel like I was drinking and eating that much.
Yeah.
It was probably just killing me from the inside out.
Yeah. So, CrossFit, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
So, you've gotten healthier, obviously. What about monetary? Because I know that has to be expensive to be a drunk.
You know, I was probably, if I left with $300 in my pocket, I would spend it all.
Yeah.
And maybe not necessarily on myself, but I was buying everybody shots and just throwing money away, just like I was just going to have all this money all the time.
Yeah.
You know, basically living like a rock star is what they would say.
Ah.
So, you know, when all that stopped, that certainly saved a big amount of money. Now, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. It costs more than just the drinking. You know, DWIs, court fees, attorney fees. There's a lot of things that stacked up in my life that cost me a lot of money.
Yeah.
I could probably have a good $1 million in my bank account if I would have not drank and put that money in the bank.
Yeah. Does that affect you now, like thinking back, going, man, I wish I, and, you know, the would haves, could haves?
I try not to have regrets in life. I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
You know, things that you do in life shape you for who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why fighting addiction is so hard, because at the time it's probably fun.
Yeah.
But it gets to the point where it's not fun anymore, and that's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the transition, I believe.
Okay. The times that you're drinking, was it the same set of friends? Was it always the same people?
You know, it probably always was the same people. You know, and now I'm not around those same people.
Yeah.
Some of them are still really good friends to me, and we talk occasionally, and they come over. But you know, I've noticed that I don't get invited to a lot of things that there's going to be drinking, and I don't think that it's. I almost just wonder if they worry that I will drink if they invite me. You know, I'm not really sure because I haven't asked.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
If you were going to have a drink today, you know, that's your choice.
Yeah.
I'm not here to judge you or tell you what you should do with your life. I'm here to take control of what I do in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. Has that been a struggle during the transition, knowing you were getting invited to things, you were having all this fun, and now you're not being invited, and maybe you're not having as much fun? Are you feeling it in different ways? Or?
Well, you know, it's a change. It's a change of fun, because now, you know, I've put aside the silly games to actually do more things that are better for me and the family. And,
yeah.
You know, it's just different. You know,
Yeah.
you're just not out doing silly stuff. You know, you're actually more in control of your life, and you know, really, it's just better for me.
Can I ask how you got the name Tornado?
Oh, well, you know, redheaded. I've been known to have a temper when I drink, and I would try to, you know, fight 4 or 5 people at a time, and just, you know, I grew up in a small town, and this is kind of what we did. You know, we were just kind of rowdy, and we forgave each other the next day, and we just kind of moved on. And I think that was a lot of it. I was probably a big liability.
Do you feel like the small town made a difference on not only when you started drinking, but to the extent? Because I know people that live in small towns, I feel like they grew up slightly different than maybe I did, or, you know, something.
But, you know, there's a lot of bonfire parties that you go to and keggers, and that's just really popular in school. And that probably is where it got started.
Yeah.
The first time I drank anything was Jack Daniels at a party. I was 14 years old, and I think I got punched out in the yard at some point. I woke up, you know, next to a bowl and a towel over my face. That was kind of the first experience. But, you know, back then I woke up like, you know, it was no big deal, no hangover. Just kind of bounced up and, you know, kind of went on with my day.
Recovery at that age is easier in a lot of ways.
Sure, yeah.
We all wish we still
I find that even in CrossFit, I'm a lot more crunchy now. You know, I can hear my knees and arms crunch when I work out. And, you know, that certainly wasn't the case back when I was an athlete.
Yeah. My son's a baseball player, and we talk a lot about the choices you make will affect whatever. He luckily is playing in college.
Yeah.
And part of that, I wonder, is I was the parent, good or bad, I don't know, that let him try the stuff that was at our house. Oh, you want to try my wine? Okay, here, try it. You want to try my vodka, whatever, here, try it. And I did that thinking, I'm going to take the mystery out of it, because I didn't want him going to a party and going, oh, what's that? I should try it. What's that? You know? Now, I don't know if that really was a good decision.
Yeah.
But what is your advice to your kids now that you've had this experience as they are growing up and going through their own experiences?
I really think it's a mindset. It's probably different for everybody. My father at 13 or 14 years old would give me a beer. And,
yeah.
I tried it, and I thought it tasted horrible at the time. I think that's why they say it's an acquired taste.
Yeah.
But, unfortunately, kids are going to do what they do. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to make bad choices about alcohol addiction or really anything in life. All you can really do is just guide them the best that you can. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer of, suggesting alcohol to somebody. I think that if it does take the mystery out of it, maybe they won't try so hard when you're not around.
Yeah.
Or maybe they won't be sneaky. And, maybe it just helps them be more open to you of what they're experimenting with. And if they're open to you, then it makes it easier for you to talk to each other about what you're doing and what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it made me nervous at first. And actually, when I married my now husband, he grew up differently, and he's like, you're letting him do what? My parents somewhat did that for me, and I ended up being the DD at most parties because I already knew what was happening, and I tasted it all, and it wasn't like, ooh, I should try that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure for my son it's been exactly that way, but I have, he's called me at 1:30 in the morning and said, I drove people home, I'm good, I'm back at the dorms, and he was the DD, and I was like, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
But I know that's not always the case.
Sure.
He is scholarshiped, and so we do a lot of, the more you pay for it yourself, the less I have to pay, the more I can give you in other things and other help. And so he's really tried to keep that scholarship. So
I hope that for my kids as well.
Yeah, hopefully. What are the age of your kids?
So Callie's 12. She's a gold medal cheer.
Yeah.
She's one of their tumblers and,
awesome.
And flyers. She's very, very athletic. She has a lot of me as far as the athletic.
Yeah.
In her. Caden, on the other hand, he's kind of sharp and smart. Wants to be an attorney. He's 16. Very on a track. He sees things in an order, and that's kind of just how he walks. Keeps his group small, and they're a very tight group, and that's just kind of how he is. It's funny how different they are, but they have a little bit of me in each of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So since you stopped drinking, just what I see on Facebook, and that's all I have to go off of, your business has become very successful.
Yes. So 2 years ago, I just had one location, and we've had some bad employees, and I kind of just put up with a lot because I was hungover and really didn't care at the time. But once I quit, I started making clear decisions, and I started getting rid of people that were around me that were detrimental to the company, detrimental to me.
Yeah.
And once I started surrounding myself with better people and different people, things started to thrive in my life and in the business. And slowly but surely, we started adding more locations and more employees and making better decisions, making better financial decisions. We're, at this point, we have 7 locations just in 2.5 years.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot of growth, and probably faster than I was ready for, but you're either going to get all the way in or get all the way out.
Yeah. I very much believe you are going to take on whatever you can truly handle.
Sure.
And it's either going to be good or bad,
Yeah.
because I've seen people get in the wrong way
Sure.
as well. So what are you finding in your relationship now that you're clear-headed? Has it gotten better? Obviously, you talked about the fights when you come home drunk. I assume, is your relationship now better because you are clear-minded and can kind of be more focused?
We probably haven't had an argument in a couple of years. We just kind of do life and raise
awesome.
Our kids. So.
Yeah.
She also works in the business, so that's a big help as well.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. I see on Facebook you post a lot about kind of letting people know if you're struggling, it's okay. You struggle too. I think on Thanksgiving you posted something about like, it's okay to struggle. Here's kind of where you need to be mindful of like getting help. Is that something that you've just worked on through your process of like admitting I do struggle and please, reach out if you do as well? Or
Sure. It helps to talk to somebody that has had issues, because they may have found a way that they got through it that you didn't think of. Mm-hmm. Everybody's mind is different, and everybody's going to approach a problem differently. Yeah. And really what that person needs to do is just make up their mind that they're just ready to make that change. Yeah. And I tell a lot of people that it's not an embarrassment to talk about your addiction, whether it's alcohol, drugs, sexual, shopping, eating, whatever. Right. I mean, there's addictions everywhere. It's not, you shouldn't be embarrassed to talk about it. Now, if you don't do anything about it, then you should be embarrassed. Yeah. That's where the embarrassment comes in, because you just are not going to help yourself. Yeah. And really, when it comes down to it, the person that needs to find it, the way that you find help is to figure out mentally how to help yourself, how to make that change and go the right direction. Yeah. So what would you tell the people who have made the choice, I'm ready to quit, I'm ready to be over it? What advice would you give those people? Well, you just need to make up your mind. You might be surprised, but there's probably 20 people at least that I can think of right now that have reached out and said they quit because of what I've said on Facebook. Wow. They have followed in my footsteps. Yeah. And one in particular is a business owner with me in our Kansas City location. That's awesome. Said, you know what, you really inspired me to quit, and my life has improved because I followed in your footsteps. So, you just got to get up and just make up your mind that it's time. Yeah. Eventually the party's over. Yes. So yes, you got to realize that the party's over and it's time to be an adult and it's time to grow up. If you don't, my father used to tell me, if you don't have your act together by the time you're in your 40s, you're going to be really behind the game. Mm-hmm. And you're never going to be able to retire. You're never going to have any money. You're always going to have problems, and you're always going to be blaming it on somebody else. Yeah. So. Yeah. You never did AA or anything like that, but do you know anything about the program? Well, I did. Okay. So one of my DWIs, it's horrible that I do have them, but I do. I was forced to go through DWI court as part of my probation. Okay. So I did go to AA, and I did get up and speak a lot to the group, just because I've always kind of been a speaker. I've always stood in front of people, and even at my businesses, I got to get them on the same page and motivated and want to work for the company and do a great job. So I guess I approach anything the same way, whether it's AA, whether it's my businesses. I just want to get up and lead. Yeah. Forgot where I was going with it. Is that a program you would recommend to people? Different things work for different people. I don't know if going and sitting in AA is the thing to do. It probably wasn't for me. Yeah. I think I enjoy going because I wanted to coach somebody else to get better. Yeah. As far as helping me personally, maybe it helped me because I was talking to other people and trying to get them to do better, but yeah, I'm not sure. Okay. I know someone who is like 20 years sober roughly now, but she will tell you, like, hands down, she's in AA. She goes every day. The only thing that kept her sober was becoming a sponsor through that, because someone else relied on her. Sure. At that point. And I think it was very similar to just getting up and telling and talking to people and being part of the story, is she was able to guide in that same way. I can see that if you are proving it can be done. Yeah. Somebody that doesn't know if it can be done or not is looking at you like, well, if he can do it, then I can do it. So I can see where that would be a big stepping stone for a lot of people. Yeah. Do you find that because of your past, your decisions are different now in your kind of present and future? Like, oh, I had these experiences, so I'm making way different choices in just everyday life, not about drinking, but just in general. Well, when I was drinking, life was pretty cheap. Yeah. So I was probably making decisions that, I could live or die in that day and really not even care. Yeah. So now that you're sober, life is important, and you see the value of life around you and the people that you affected or have healed with.
Yeah.
So certainly.
Okay. So what would you kind of tell people now that you're past it? What do you want people to know? Like, what piece of advice in general do you want to give to people?
I tell some of my friends that approach me about this, you know what? Make it simple. Mark on your calendar, this is the day that I'm going to stop. Whether it's smoking, drugs, alcohol, whatever. Mark it on your calendar that that's the day, and try to get your mind there.
Yeah.
Try to wake up that day and say, okay, I'm done, and tell your mind that you are.
Yeah. And
once you get past a few weeks of really coming to terms with that you really are done, it gets a lot easier.
Okay.
It gets a lot easier. And time is what is going to get you there also.
Yeah.
You don't want to get in a situation where you just keep hitting the reset button. Because then you start compromising with yourself all the time. Well,
Yeah.
I can just start over later on.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
You put it away and you keep it away. The other thing is, you develop a lot of friends when you're drinking, but a lot of those friends aren't going to be there when you stop drinking because they drink around you because you're fun to drink with.
Yeah.
And, the chaos and everything that comes with it is fun.
Yeah.
So, you're going to have to change who you hang around. You're going to have to hang around people that are going places and doing things. And there's so many books written about that.
Yeah.
You are what you hang around.
Yeah.
So, my father used to always tell me, if you run with the dogs, you get fleas.
Ah.
And I always hated it when he said that. Just didn't like it. There's probably other examples, but now that I've been sober long enough, I understand, what he was trying to tell me.
Yeah.
And a lot of times he was trying to tell me this because he was going through the same things himself back then.
Yeah. So, your relationship with your parents, are they still around? I should probably.
Father's not.
Okay.
Health problems.
Okay.
From drinking.
Okay.
Mother is.
Your relationship, is it different with them now that you're sober as well?
Yeah, I think it's my relationship with anybody is a lot clearer.
Yeah.
I'm probably a little more direct. Some people don't like that. But, I just kind of tell it how it is. I'm pretty honest with everybody now. And I don't have anything to hide.
Yeah.
So it makes my relationship with a lot of people a lot easier.
I think that's awesome. Are there any resources that you would give to people that are searching for help?
Like I said, it's different for everybody. You have to find what works for you, because unlocking that thing in your brain to make you stop is a different key for everybody.
Yeah.
So you've got to find that key.
Yeah.
You've got to find that key that opens that lock. So.
Would you recommend them finding a couple of people to be directly honest with to kind of lead the way?
Sure.
Yeah.
And circling back to AA, that's probably a good start, because at least you get in there and you get an idea from each one of those individuals telling their story of what worked for them.
Yeah.
And maybe that'll help you find that key to unlock what's going on in your head.
Yeah. I do feel like the people I've known that have been addicts, they had a background that needed to be clear for them to really quit. And the people that have, I'm the honest person in most of my friendships as well. I'm the one that just tells it how it is. So people call and go, okay, I need the Shauna answer, because they know I'm just going to, here it is. The people that have called me that have been in that situation, I have said, you've got to go talk to a counselor, a psychiatrist, whoever you need to, because what caused you to get to this point needs to be cleaned up, or you're forever going to be in a cycle.
Sure.
Do you feel like that's good advice in what you've experienced, or do you think that maybe isn't?
I think it's great advice. You can make this really simple. People quit for 3 reasons. 1 is because they've made up their mind. 2, they die from it.
Yeah.
Or 3, it's court ordered.
Yeah.
So it's going to happen 1 of 3 ways,
mm-hmm.
and maybe you should choose for yourself and your family which way it happens.
Well, and potentially killing people along the way, that does way more damage than just dealing with whatever
Sure.
you need to deal with, because I know that can be a thing.
Yeah. I always tell people that you're one decision away from a different life.
Yes.
And I don't think people realize that.
Yeah.
They take life for granted. That one decision will ruin your life and it'll ruin others.
100%. 100%. Anything to close out?
I don't think so.
Okay. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Thank you, Michael, for being here on his birthday. I still think that's crazy that he's here. If you like what you have seen, we just ask you to subscribe again to our Facebook, our YouTube, follow our Instagram, all of those places to really get some behind the scenes, really get notified when these come out. Our whole goal is to bring real life situations in a raw way that will hopefully motivate some people, relate, and get them going in a direction of positivity. 2020 has been hard on everyone in some way. We just want to bring some different light and carry that into 2021. So if you want to be a part of the journey, please like our pages, reach out. We would love to hear from you and everything that you guys have to say. If you want to be part of this, please reach out, let us know. We would love to hear your story and get you on our interview schedule. We're just really looking forward to what this can bring. I hope, again, everybody had a great week, and we will see you all next time. Bye.